Galactic Council protocol for discovery of new species is generally down to the individual race or empire that encounters them. This was the most abnormal, odd, and peculiar situation we could have imagined. We had exited hyperspace and performed a scan as per the norm, only to be greeted with not 1 or 2 or even 10, but 37 separate ships in the system, all crowded around one large station. We saw a dozen warships, several cargo freighters, and a few other large or small fighter craft, personal transports and whatnot, all heavily armed. Our protocol was, when encountering a sufficient military force, we give a show of power and strength, then test a potential opponent. They either stand down or a standoff ensues where we talk, scanning, testing. It's essentially a Wang measuring contest, where the winner is the guy that bloviates the most and calls the bluff. Naturally, with that level of armament, we assumed it was a warship fleet. I was sitting at my communications desk just taking notes on the situation as the Admiral prepared us for a fight. With shields raised and phase cannons charged, I opened comms and hailed the station. The holovid screen appeared above the Admiral's chair and we waited. "We are the Eridani Imperium. Stand down your weapons. We are the masters of this sector, and your pitiful military will submit to our rule." The Admiral's voice was masterful, deep and strong, as any leader should. An image appeared as the entity on the other end received the call. It was some odd creature, clearly sentient, with 2 eyes, 2 arms, a head, 2 large expressive eyes, and colorful tuft of hair. I surmised it was some kind of mammal. "What?" it said, seemingly confused. "Your tiny fleet is no match for our dreadnought. I say again, you will stand down," the Admiral commanded. It was true the warships stationed here were small and we could easily wipe them out without much effort. But something was wrong here. The creature looked at the Admiral almost as if it were bored, annoyed, or confused. "What? You ordering burgers or what? Stand down and prepare to meet your new masters," the Admiral commanded again, his voice filling us with a certain degree of pride. "Oh, Jesus, I'm not paid enough for this. Hey, boss, got a Karen alien asking for the manager again. I'ma make some fries," the creature said and buggered off screen somewhere. It was genuinely bored of its existence and had no clue what was going on. The Admiral seemed to be most irritated at this point. I took the opportunity while waiting to perform some scans and take some photographs for recon data to send home. I was genuinely confused at what was going on. Again, something felt very, very wrong about this place. The situation was ridiculous. I carefully looked at all the photos. My first thought was, is this a military outpost or is it a food storage? Because clearly these items were foodstuffs of some kind. All of them looked quite delectable, actually. A new creature, similar to the other one only with darker skin and a big beard resting in some kind of netting on its face. "I'm the manager here. Can I help you?" "Yes, you can help me. You can submit your empire to my rule and stand your ships down," the Admiral annoyingly commanded. "What? Sir, this is a fast food restaurant. Those ships already are standing down. Can you hurry this up, please? We're in a lunch rush." The creature replied with a tone of boredom. "What is this idiocy?" the Admiral yelled out. I heard a sensor ping come from my communications array looking at it. A very, very large warship had just entered the star system, but I was too distracted with what was going on to bother with it. "Oh, for Jesus, not this stupid shit again. What is this, the 10th time?" the creature on the screen said, slapping his face in frustration. "11th, actually. We had them spider people last month," a voice from behind said idly. "Oh, Christ. Okay. Hey, Big Shot, are you listening?" the creature asked. "Do not ignore me, you—" "Shut the hell up, you twat," the creature commanded with more authority and strength than even the Admiral could usually muster. The creature took a deep breath and tried to stay calm. "We are human. You have entered frontier space within the human sphere, as we call it. There is no grand empire, there is no ownership of this system, there is no fleet you can fight, no grand enemy you can dictate, and frankly, I don't care. This is a fast food restaurant, not an outpost for some grand civilization. Please shut the hell up," the human said, then walked off the screen. Shortly thereafter, a new human, a shorter but slightly younger version, appeared again. This one was clearly female, and I confirmed they were, in fact, mammals owing to her chest. "Welcome to Fasty's Fast Food, fastest food on the frontier. How may I take your order?" The Admiral sat in silence for what seemed an eternity. Finally, he spoke. "So, your leaders aren't here?" "No. This is a fast food restaurant, sir. We only have what's on the menu," she replied. "So, those ships are cargo freighters?" the Admiral asked sheepishly, taking a closer look at the docked fleet. "Well, these ones are but the big ones that appeared behind you aren't," she replied again. It was our turn to shit ourselves as we took careful stock of the new signatures that just entered the system. Directly behind us, within weapons range, a local security fleet had appeared and had us dead to rights. 24 Super Dreadnought-class signatures, with several Titan-class signatures to boot. The Admiral sank in his seat, pressing his hand to his forehead. Not only having made a huge mistake in exposing a dreadnought to an assault that would end with our embarrassing defeat, but also ended up threatening a restaurant due to his overeagerness. My lord? Multiple weapons locks detected. Those weapons will ignore our shields and go straight through us. What do we do?" the gunnery sergeant said. A few moments of silence followed as the sight of a human in full military dress appeared on a second screen. This one looked very, very annoyed and itching for a bloodbath. I saw that glint in his eyes that meant checkmate. I moved up and stood next to the Admiral while we waited for what was most certainly a horrible death and looked at my readings. The creature looked at us, attentive, but clearly bored, as if she were waiting for something. I said, and held up a picture of the board by the station. "Can I please have a big smoke?" "I think that's what it says. It's the special order thingy," I said, ordering what I believed to be the yummiest-looking items on the list. All it was a desperate attempt to try to de-escalate the situation with a modicum of dignity. The entire crew looked at me like I just kicked an infant, but considering the circumstances, it was all I could think to do besides unconditional surrender. And what a humiliation that would be. "Two number 9 TSS, a number 9 large, number 6 with extra dip, number 7, 2 number 45 S, 1 with cheese, and a large soda. Is that just for you, or are you ordering for everyone? Shall I just even the order for you and Barracks size it? Looks like you got 87 crew on board. We can handle that," she asked with a smile as her nimble fingers rapidly typed away behind the screen. The Admiral and I shared a terrified look. They had scan techs so detailed they could find the entire crew count. That was horrifying. Yes, please, do that. Barracks size a big smoke for me, please." "Why?" Did I feel very silly saying that? "Oh, I forgot. Are you active military, sir?" she asked again with that bewitching smile. Well, yes, I am, but not your military." "Why?" I asked calmly. "Well, our species has a tradition of valuing its military service personnel regardless of nationality. If you present your ID card and any relevant credentials, military service personnel are entitled to a discount if they are active duty," she said with a more bubbly, happy tone. A moment of silence passed and we all went, "Wait. What?" And I presented my military ID card anyway, curious as to what they'd do. "I mean, okay," I said and let her look at it. She waved the senior individual over and he looked at it. "Well, he's definitely an alien, but that's a military ID, no question. They are similar to ours. See? Insignia, badge number, it's even laminated and everything with a watermark. Go for it." "Your orders are being processed. Do you want to eat on your ship or want to eat in the station? We got plenty of room," she said with a bubbly smile. "Well, if your military behind us would stand down, please. We'd prefer to eat on station," I said, gesturing to the angry beeping noises coming from our ship's proximity system. "So long as you behave yourselves, so will we," the voice from the angry-looking military human said in its turn. "Weapons and shields offline. Maneuver to an empty spot. There," the Admiral commanded and pointed at a few empty spots near the station's dock. Several were large enough to hold our ship in, so we headed there. It was now we had the chance to look at the armada that had snuck up behind us. The entire crew collectively shat itself at the sheer bastarding size of the damn things. 74 ships, 7 of which the Galactic Federation recognized as Titan-class warships. The Titans had cannons the size of our entire damn ship, and we were a dreadnought. I will say this again so there's no room for my statement to be misheard. Their cannons were the size of our dreadnought. Clearly, these humans had a severely warped sense of scale and the engineering expertise to carry out that delusion. We were very heavily outmatched here. The Admiral looked at me in a thankful, pleading way as we docked to the station. I had just narrowly avoided a catastrophe and we were about to get a discounted lunch. That's a victory as far as I'm concerned. We all docked up. It seemed the connection ports and locking mechanisms were all a universal electromagnetic design, so we were pretty locked firm there. I just shrugged and headed to the storage bay to acquire what I believed to be a suitable form of payment. Gold, silver, platinum, and other metals they might find useful. Or, at the very least, maybe enough in trade as we hadn't had much to offer. We were only an exploration ship after all, not a merchant or diplomatic ship. With ingots and coinage in my arms, I handed them over to the Admiral and gestured for him to lead the way. We were greeted by a slew of humans, most of them carrying heavy firearms and wearing metallic combat armor, including a few of them that were very tall and heavily armored in powered battle suits. Before we could go further, we were stopped by a human soldier with a cart full of what turned out to be oxygen rebreathers. "Hey, you breathe oxygen?" he said. Yes? I responded in kind. Standard procedure. Take one of these and keep it at the ready. The overshield we got on this place is pressurized, which is why you can breathe in space. On the dock," he said, handing me one of the masks. I was wondering about that. Thank you." I smiled and put it on my tool belt. "The pressure shield has never failed. 10 years of service, we've had no issues with it, but hey, better prepared than frozen and dead. One for each of you. Feel free to take them home with you. Might be useful," he said with a shrug, then returned inside. Each of us took one, put it on our tool belts, and headed inside. My brain nearly exploded as my nostrils were flooded with an ocean of heavenly smells and scents. The smell of food nearly made me pass out, and I had to steady myself. The sheer, overwhelming quantity of smells, scents, and sweetmeats made my mouth water uncontrollably. "By all the gods' holy balls, what smells so good in here?" I yelled as I quickly charged towards an empty table. My comrades quickly followed me, the Admiral barely holding on to his hoard of valuables as he too suddenly walked into a foodie's paradise. The other humans in the area simply ignored us and carried on with their own meals. Understandable, really. I'd ignore everything if I had food this good. Within moments of us sitting on the tables, we had our food. How did you do that so fast?" "There's a reason this stuff's called fast food, sir. Please enjoy." The humans serving us replied with a smile. "We will have to ask them how they do that. But for now, food," the Admiral said idly and bit down onto an oddly flat cylindrical item called a burger. His face, heart, soul, and everything else just completely melted. He entered a universe of pure bliss as the flavor started beating him to death. At least that's how I interpreted the sounds and motions he was making. I tasted my own burger thing, and likewise suffered the same fate of having the entirety of my senses overwhelmed by deliciousness. The meal didn't last long. We stuffed ourselves full of food, each one of us having a burger, a chicken drumstick, and something called buffalo wings and salad. Being omnivores ourselves, we were fine with the food selection, more than fine. A few of us didn't like the capsaicin selection in the wings, but it didn't stop them from eating every damn morsel they were given. The human who greeted us, after our embarrassing moment, appeared and smiled down at me. "Hey, enjoy your meal?" "I died and went to paradise with every bite," I replied with a loud belch. "Good to hear. Do you have any items to trade or anything to pay for your meal?" he replied. "We have gold, silver, and platinum for trade. Is that okay?" the Admiral replied in turn. "Good to hear. There's no need for it, though. I've just been given the bill from the military unit stationed here. You know, those guys in the battleships out there. Consider this a gift. Do stay as long as you need to recover from your food binge. Let me know if you need a drink or dessert," he said with a smile. What is this thing you call dessert? I've never heard of it, I said. Dessert. Afters. Follow up a meal with a small portion of sweets, ice creams, or other such tasty treats. Interested? He asked with a smile. As much as I would love to, if I eat any more, I may fall over dead, but thank you. I groaned in discomfort. I definitely ate far too much, just like everyone else. Fair enough. Well, let me know if you need anything. He walked away with a smile. We were unable to do anything about the human military officer and his entourage of soldiers walking in and approaching us. He stood above the admiral, who had fallen on the floor with the biggest smile on his face and simply stayed there. Well, hello there. The human said, Good food. Really good food. Sorry about that whole thing before. But we've had a lot of bad first contacts. Aggression usually pays better dividends these days. Sorry about that. The admiral, sounding almost drunk, said in turn. Fair enough. Gotta say I wasn't expecting this. First contact with an alien species, then suddenly we become the best of friends over some cheap fast food. You okay down there? The human officer asked, seemingly genuinely concerned. Yes, I am fine. The admiral belched loudly. I had far too much. Far too much. I would love to open negotiations, but I'm a bit too fooded. If that's a term I can use to do anything right now. Yes, far too fooded. Can we talk later? Certainly. I'll stick around for lunch in that case. See you soon, then, the human officer said and headed to the counter. That was certainly more interesting than the usual FCPs we do, my lord. I wouldn't mind if they were all this enjoyable, I said idly. So let's recall what we just went through here. First, we find a species whose engineering prowess is so absurd that their sense of scale is warped to ridiculous levels. They create ships nearly 5 times the size of the galactic standard, I said calmly. Then to find they are master artisans with food. So much so they not only have it in such surplus, they can cook an entire fleet's worth of meals in a matter of minutes and maintain an incredible flavor, the navigations officer said. The artwork suggests a species with an incredibly rich history. The admiral idly belched, pointing at a painting of a human in a spacesuit touching a flower with an expression of wonder and hope. I think we may have found the golden children of the galaxy. The Emperor must be informed of this, the admiral said further, getting a nod of approval from us all.